I mean, it drew some made some political points about power and the abuses of power. But I think my main intention was just to try and capture as accurately as possible the fear that I was feeling myself. I was feeling afraid for my children, for my family, for my friends, for myself, for my world. And articulating that was very difficult. I had to put myself through a bad couple of months to get close enough to that feeling, because it's so easy to hide away from it. It's such a terrible thing to think that the whole world could be gone in 4 minutes. I mean, I believe that's the average. A missile launch from a submarine, it would be here in 6 minutes. No warning. The truth of our existence is that the missiles could be in the air now. And that has been the truth of our existence since I was born. How do you live with that? How do you live with that constant threat of annihilation? That was what Watchmen was trying to answer, and it meant me getting closer to those thoughts and those feelings, which I frankly tried to suppress most of the time. But for those months, I had to get very close to them and face them. I came away feeling a lot better. I came away feeling that I'd looked at it, that I'd got it in proportion, that I wasn't scared anymore.
It's almost 6 years later. What do you see as the legacy of Watchmen?
I think that I'd have to echo what David Bowie said about his influence. You know, this is the face that launched 1,000 pretensions. At the time, I hoped that Watchmen might show up a lot of the essential silliness and redundancy of the superhero genre. It wasn't meant as a revitalisation of the superhero, it was meant as a tombstone for the superhero, at least in my terms. I couldn't see any point in doing superheroes, from my point of view, after Watchmen. Unfortunately, everybody else could, and there have been an awful lot of bad Watchmen clones. Or not just specifically Watchmen clones, but this would extend to Dark Knight as well. People who were looking at those faintly grim and postmodern superhero comics of the mid-80s, and instead of moving on from there, have just recycled them again and again and again for the last 6 years. It's almost like, you know, postmodernism by numbers. You make a few references to William Burroughs, you make a few references to some currently popular band like REM that will impress your young readers with how hip you are. You throw in some garbled sort of sub-psychedelic philosophy. And you've got a modern comic. Doesn't matter whether it has any substance, doesn't matter whether it has any direction, but it hits enough of the right button so that people will recognise this as something modern and experimental and daring. And of course it is not in the least bit experimental.